there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
Hey everyone, this is Ledwing.
And I'm Brian from A Fitting Revenge, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Hour, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I am your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father, and as always, I bring you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a huge privilege to have Brian and Ledwing of A Fitting Revenge, Rochester, New York-based heavy melodic metal band. A Fitting Revenge has released the official music video for their single, The Overthrow, off their upcoming album, Omnipresence, which will be released July 1st. And that's just very shortly around the corner, very shortly. So, Brian and Ledwing, how you guys doing, man? And welcome to the show.
Good. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Not too shabby, not too shabby. Folks, I just want to remind everybody, please get out and subscribe to BODS Mayhem, our YouTube page. It takes 2 seconds just to click. That's it. And click on a notification bell to get everything and anything that comes up about for BODS Mayhem Hour, and plus our Facebook page as well, too. That'll help me out tremendously. All right, so we're going to jump into this right now. How you guys been doing so far, and how excited is the band for this upcoming release of the album Omnipresence? It's going to happen here very shortly, guys.
We're doing good, and honestly, it doesn't feel real because this album's been worked on for so long that it's like, wait a second, the release is here, it's happening. Like, it's just, I don't know. I occasionally have dreams about it, and I haven't decoded those yet.
That's exciting. We're just like Led was saying, the material's been sitting on, it's been sat on for a while. And we're just excited to get out and start playing shows and touring behind this album.
How long have you guys sat on this? Because it has to be frustrating to have these at least for over a year, I would imagine. But just sitting there and you can't do nothing with it. How long have you guys been sitting on these?
Some of these songs actually go back to 2016.
Oh,
but
wow.
This album was originally supposed to come out in 2020. And some things happened. We lost members. Everyone's lives got more difficult, and we decided, you know what? Why, rather than rush this through while all this is going on now, let's maybe take this time and kind of take advantage of that extra polish time. But yeah, it's been a long time coming for sure.
Did they give you more creativity on this album to add more stuff into this possibly? Or just maybe if you had a song to sit around on this album just to shine it up a little bit more? Did you guys have that time to do that on this one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was great because we could, suddenly we could go in and say, all right, I like the soundtrack to this movie, or I like this riff off of XYZ album. And instead of listening to it for 5 seconds and going, okay, no, we could actually go into the music theory of it, or we could slow it down, try to learn the section kind of as a little cover, deconstruct it. Like, it just gave us so much more time to go in there with a razor blade and cut things apart.
Yeah. It's, the nice thing about the last 2 years really is it's given, you look at bands like similar with like Trivium, they put out 2 albums in like the last 2 years. It's been giving bands a lot of time that they never really had before to actually sit down and actually take their time to write an album, instead of be like, hey, we got an album, we're touring behind it. Okay, we got 6 months to write a new album and we're back on the road. You were able to really sit down and fine tune the songs and really get them how you wanted them and how you wanted them to sound without having any deadlines or anything. You're having to rush, to put something out to get because in this day and age, and I was talking about it today with somebody, everybody just wants everything now at their fingertips ever since, like cell phones, became a thing, like smartphones and the internet really became, a popular thing. So it was nice to be able to sit there and, work on the songs and work them over and over and over until it's, as it is now and what they're going to hear.
My God, Brian, you hit the nail on the head right there, man. It's like bands are putting out EPs instead of full lengths, or they're just releasing singles. They've got a full album, already recorded, but they're only releasing singles, and then they'll release the album. It's like, what have you done for me now? It's not like back in the old days, where I should say old days because I'm old.
No, I hear you.
It's like, I'd like to go to the store back in the day and grab that Hit Parader or Circus Magazine or Rip Magazine or something like that to see what my favorite band was working on, or these new bands that are coming about, to see what they're working on. And you had to watch, when MTV was good.
Oh yeah.
You had to watch that just to see, or read the magazine to know if there's a full album coming out. And back then, when you got that full album, it's like, hell yeah, I got my album. Got it. And now it's like one song, we're done. 2 weeks later, man, that band's old. They ain't putting nothing out in like 2 weeks. That's like 6 years.
I think the only guy that's kind of figured out the singles game is Ronnie Radke. Yeah. I know that his budget for just the single is what bands use for albums. And I think he's kind of figured out, people want, they don't want full length, whereas some people do. And he's kind of been like, I'm just going to work on singles. And I mean, the singles and like the response and like the success of his singles is obviously shown. I mean, the guy is just a musical genius, but it was nice because, again, bands like Trivium, us, Ice Nine Kills, they were able to take the time to actually work on songs and really fine tune them, because most bands don't have that opportunity. And like you said, I remember when MTV was actually for music, and going on like Headbangers Ball, and like I remember discovering Devil Driver because of Headbangers Ball. And the amount of bands that I've discovered in like the last 2 years from like new music that they've been putting out. And I'm sure like I go back and listen to their other stuff and it's great, but like the new stuff, you could tell they were able to take the last 2 years to write. I mean, it's just awesome. It's really, I really feel like the industry is going to have a big boom because of the last 2 years.
Yeah, and it's frustrating for me as a music fan, because I'm one of those guys who likes that full length. Mm-hmm. EPs are fine. I like them, but it's like part 2 is coming out 6 months later.
Right.
That's frustrating for me as a fan, because I like that full length. But I understand how the day works. Everything changes. And really, man, it's a lot of these bands, they do it themselves. They don't have to have a producer or anything like that now because of that.
Yep.
I think going forward, there's going to be, I'm going to be bold here in this prediction. There's going to be a little bit of a renaissance when it comes to metal, because pre-pandemic, I think a lot of metal bands were hesitant about doing anything other than a full length. And metal takes a lot longer to do than hip hop. Hip hop tends to be like a quicker turnaround time. Mm-hmm. So now going forward, the pandemic has made it so that you've had to kind of sit and rethink this model. And Ronnie, as you mentioned, he's ahead of the curve as far as like the rock and the metal release world. So yeah, I think going forward, you're going to see more bands open to different modes of doing things. The full length is not going away. But yeah, that's going to be great. And that's going to be a high tides lift all boats scenario, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's going to be odd, Ledwing, because you take a huge national touring band like Metallica or AC/DC or Judas Priest, for God's sakes. Those bands are used to putting out freaking full lengths.
Right.
Yeah. When they come out full lengths, they are fucking a smack in the face normally. And
right.
For them to create an EP, I just don't see it. You know what I mean? Because they're so used to that, the old way that they're set to.
Yeah. Well, look at I didn't mean to interrupt you, Led.
No, you're good.
I mean, look at Metallica when they did that experimental album with Lou Reed.
Yeah.
Like it, I mean, if you listen to, again, I wasn't a fan of it, but if you listen to like the instrumental stuff, it's Metallica. You know, that I guarantee. I mean, you know, they take their time now. Unlike, you know, when they first were doing it, they were churning out albums every 2-3 years, and now they're, you know, what, it's been 5-6 years since their last album.
Yeah.
But you know, I agree with you. I could never see them doing an EP.
No.
But I mean, you look at like Machine Head. I think their new album is probably, out of all the albums coming out this year, my number one, like, most anticipated album for me. I'm just a massive Machine Head fan as well. But like listening to, like, you know, Rob put out Arrows, you know, last year, that EP, and like all those songs are on the album. And I mean, the album, I don't know if you've checked it out yet, like from like the songs that have been pre-released, but this thing is going to sound like, it's like almost like Unto the Locust and the Blackening era, like, you know, for me, peak Machine Head. Like, that was like when they were, I mean, they still crush. Rob is just the man, but those two albums were just, for me, like, life changing.
Mm-hmm. Are these all brand new songs, or these songs that didn't make a previous album or an EP that you guys had stashed away possibly? Are these songs that may didn't make those, made it onto this one finally?
I want to say only maybe 2 of them were songs that didn't make it onto Tempest Fugit, which was the last full-length album.
Right, from 2017.
Right, but there are always riffs are always in the pipeline. So, you know, there may be portions or ideas that existed prior to Tempest Fugit being done, but yeah, only 2 full songs that were carried over. I try not to throw anything away when it comes to ideas, so I'd rather just like Omnipresence. We cut. I
think there's like three or four.
Yeah, we cut. I think it was 4. In, you know, different levels of completion. So rather than throw those away, I'd rather take those back in and then just be able to polish them, fix what's wrong, that sort of thing. Any musician listening to this, please, I beg you, don't throw riffs away.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, and it's kind of funny on the whole EP topic. A minute ago, we're actually already working on doing an EP this fall, kind of like as a follow-up to Omnipresence, just because the songs that we have left over, I had leftover riffs in songs that I've been working on the last few years, and we're kind of Frankensteining them all, and they're coming out really, really awesome. So we want to kind of polish those up and get them out this fall, just so that our fans can have something to continue, you know, on the kind of on the topic of Omnipresence, and, you know, the short stories that Omnipresence is telling, because it's a concept album.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we're going to continue that with the EP this fall, hopefully this fall or winter.
That was going to be my next question, actually. Were there any tracks that didn't make this album that we could see on another EP down the road, or another album down the road from you guys?
Definitely.
And plus, how do you guys like break down that concept that you're writing about, to say, okay, we need to stop here and save this for like the part 2 of it coming up later on? Well, you know, how do you work that out?
Wow, that's a really, really good question. I mean, there's a lot of discussions. It kind of comes down to a compromise. One method that I like to use is that as the album is being written and it's being recorded, I will take any demos that we have or any MIDI exports that we have, and I'll put them in what I think is a rough order of what the album might sound like, and then I'll put them into just a DAW and put like a stadium reverb on it.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I do that is because I like to just sit back, close my eyes, listen to it all the way through, because by doing that, you know, you don't have a guitar in your hands. You're not working on things. You're removed from everything. You know, I'm trying to put myself in the position of a listener, of somebody who might be seeing this stuff live. And by doing that and giving yourself some space from the songs, you're able to kind of see what's lacking. The second thing I try to do is, I have a trusted circle of friends, other musicians, family members, and I'll show them songs and then I'll watch their reaction. Because as you're playing this song that you just listened to half an hour ago and totally ripped, but now you're playing it for them and you see their face, you see when they're maybe losing interest, and something about it. It's like you're watching them listen to this song and you're going, oh shit, you know what? Damn, this part really drags. And I just wasn't brave enough to admit it to myself, or I was too attached or something. So detaching from the music and reattaching, that's how I do it.
I got to say on the Overflow that this single that you guys have out right now, man, is pretty freaking awesome. I'll say that straight up forward right now, because
thank you.
This to me is, and I don't mean to knock any other bands out there whatsoever, because I like your all's music as well, but I like how this is going toward the new metal, if that makes sense. There's more new stuff coming out that I like, and this is one of it. I love this fucking breakdown that's in this song, man. It hits you and you're like, oh my God. It's like you went down that dip and it come right back up, and it's like, oh shit. But this is a good song, man. The Overflow, you guys did really good on this one, guys.
The breakdown for that, breakdowns are all relative, right? So a heavy breakdown is based on how unheavy the parts in between are. So we did a lot of different versions of that breakdown, like so many, to try to get to the right mood. If you don't have that negative space for the music to go away, or that build, your breakdown is going to be nothing.
Yeah. I mean, this breakdown, if that breakdown wasn't there, I just don't think that song would have that extra kick to it. It's like the revolving missing piece of that puzzle that you found. It's like, all right, stop. We got it. This is good. This is really good.
Well, I tend to write songs that are a little too long. So our previous drummer was great about challenging me on, hey man, does this really have to be here? And actually for the Overthrow, I got to give props to our bass player who was with us during the writing, Grant Davis. He really killed it on that song and a bunch of other stuff. So like, yeah, the man can write.
Was there a track, guys, that you were working on that totally ended up sounding different than it was intended to when it was first brought to the table? Was there one that just kept changing, that you just got frustrated and said, all right, this is it, and finally you guys got it?
Yes. The Freeze. So The Freeze was the song that, yeah, Brian's laughing.
What's Brian? He's like, no.
So The Freeze actually came.
I have a love-hate with that song.
And why is that?
So it's funny because when like Led brings me a song, the way he like structures like any melody, he always overcomplicates like some of the parts, and I'm just like, hey, if you play it this way, or if you play it in this position or this like fret, it's so much easier. So like that whole song, for like some of the melody, I had to like completely transpose it to like another like area of the fretboard just to like make it so much simpler. He likes to just
and
go above and beyond.
That's even after the fact that like as we're preparing the songs to track guitars, particularly with guitars, I go through a process where I'm recording, but I'm also simplifying stuff. And even then, sometimes I don't know. Sorry, man. You have bigger hands than I do, so I think maybe I have to write things to kind of compensate for my baby doll hands. But anyway, so before we kind of hit that corner, oh shit, where was that? Oh yeah, so The Freeze was in 2016, and that song, I shit you not, that had to have gone through like 30 different versions. And there were times where we had 3 competing versions.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, it was bad. And then we lost track of which was a nightmare, because we couldn't tell like who did what part of what and what part. So we literally had a meeting and we just sat down and we went like block by block, section by section. So, and I want to clue the listener in that when we do all our writing stuff, we keep track of it kind of like software development where there's like source control. You know, we have like one master copy of everything that goes on the album. So when the album's done, we have all the sheet music good to go. And even with that process, it was a fucking nightmare. So finally we got it. And I have to tell you, man, they say that you can't polish a turd into a diamond. I'm here to tell you that it is possible.
That my favorite songs off the album are either The Freeze or The Wheel. Those two songs, I just yeah, I love those songs.
The Wheel is a slammer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I said, the Overflow is awesome. I can't wait to hear the rest of this when it releases July 1st. Because I don't like to wait and say, you know, well, here's this free, blah, 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 blah. I go and buy these, man. People think I get these stuff free. Sometimes I do, and it still bothers me. I still go buy it because I'm just the
same way.
That's just the way I am, man. I'm a collector. I've got to have the albums. I got to have MP3 stuff like that. I go buy the stuff. So I support you guys. I support all these folks out here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I actually sat down and did all the graphic design stuff for the album, minus the album cover, which was done by a great artist, Matt D'Angelo. But if you get the physical copy, open it up. I think you'll like the design.
Yeah, it's got like a wildcat on the front of it. The eyes and stuff looks like a cat or something.
That is an owl.
An owl. Okay. I don't know my animals, guys. I guess I need to go back to kindergarten.
Wildcat, owl, dolphin.
Well, I mean, you look at it, it's like, what is this? But it's a cool looking album art. I bought many albums, and I know you guys probably have too, just on the look of the album cover.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because the first album I ever bought as a kid, I was always obsessed with like monsters and comics.
Yeah.
So the first album I ever bought myself was Rob Zombie's Hillbilly Deluxe.
Oh, wow.
Because I loved that album cover.
That's got all kinds of stuff going on that album cover, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can't look away. You're like, you go another aisle down here. It's like, I gotta go back.
Yeah.
Look at this album again.
That City of Evil cover is fucking wild.
That was another good one. Yeah, that was a cool one.
Now, Rob just come out with a new single here yesterday, I think.
Yeah, it's great.
I have not got to check it out yet. But I will. So the album was produced by Jack Daniels. Is that correct? War of Ages. Is that right? Am I right or am I wrong?
He didn't produce it. He was the mix engineer.
He mix engineered it. Yeah.
Okay. So was this produced in-house or did somebody, okay, it was produced in-house?
Yep.
You guys like to have that freedom to have, to do that in-house besides going out to produce?
We see differently on that one. I love working with producers. Led is more of a let's do it in-house kind of guy. I'm hoping with this EP to bring him on board with the producer.
So I want to clarify, actually, Brian, I do want to clarify. I actually do like the idea of working with a producer. I do. Tempest Fugit, the guy who mixed it, also served in a producer role, and it was helpful to kind of kick our ass into gear. What I really prefer, though, is to be able to track most stuff at home.
Sure.
Because you don't have to pay that studio time, and you can kind of feel the process. Oh shit, these riffs aren't working. It's not like you're constantly looking at the clock like, oh damn, this is getting expensive.
So the album cover art, did he get exactly what you guys were looking for? Or was there anything specific that you guys were looking for the cover art, or did you just let him have free reign with it?
Oof. There were so many different versions of the cover art.
Oh, wow. Here we go.
Yeah. Prior to what we had kind of decided on. So essentially we picked a photo that would then be altered later. And we went to Matt and we said, this is the vibe we're looking for. Here's some of the lyrics. And he just ran with it. He gave us like 5 or 6 different versions. And the one that's on there now just hit a square in the eyes.
What's the growth musically, guys, you've seen from yourselves working on this album versus, say, like previous albums like Tempest Fugit, or just, EPs or anything? I know Brian's coming to the part here a little bit later, but what's the growth that you guys seen from yourselves possibly, or just the band overall?
That's a really good question. I think the the growth is really in knowing the process. And that doesn't really mean recording. That's like part of it. But like I said before, you know, separating yourself from the music, putting yourself in the listener's shoes, like all these different ways of testing the quality of the songwriting. That's all shit we didn't know when we were still AFR putting out those 2 EPs. We were just in a room, just kind of shitting our hands and throwing it against the wall. And, oh, that looks okay.
Yeah.
We didn't actually shit in our hands.
Brian will confirm that here in a minute because he's looking.
Yes, Brian, I need to see those clean hands. All right, good.
Oh, that's good.
So, yeah, it was a lot about improving the process of songwriting and being in tune. Okay, here's one more example. There was a period where we would just write. And this was like early days. And one thing I kind of learned later on, and this was learned in the context of like journalism and writing books, but it's like, how are you going to have an opinion on something? How are you going to create art if you haven't gone out there and like lived a life? If you're just sitting in a room writing riffs all day long, it's going to sound like it's written by a riff machine.
Yeah, I got you.
It's not the same. So, you know, that really helped us with this because we were starting to pull from all sorts of weird spots.
I joined I joined AFR at the kind of the end of the writing process of this album. But like my previous band was all 7 and 8 strings. So going from writing a vastly different style of music to this, it was refreshing because, you know, my old, not my previous band that I had left before this one, but one of like my old bands and like growing up, I was much more into this, you know, heavy guitar riff based stuff. And so it was really refreshing to kind of get back on that horse and be like, hey, let's turn the riff hat ideas, you know, on again and really kind of pump out, you know, just the you know, old riffs that I had. I remember I sent Led, you know, some songs that I had demoed like 5-6 years ago that were just sitting on my, you know, PC, just sitting with no life, you know, just, and these are songs that, you know, I would love to have, you know, out there. And, you know, fortunately, you know, he works his magic and I work my magic and we're, you know, turning, you know, his ideas and my ideas into, you know, the best things that we can possibly put out.
Oh, so dude, you haven't heard what I did to you know that you the Mecha Gojira riff?
Yeah.
You haven't heard what I did to that.
You got to send it to me later.
It's not ready yet. It's not ready yet.
So Brian, this was a recharge for you then.
Massive. Yeah. It was a massive reset because I was pretty demoralized after my last band. I wasn't ready to give up on music, but I was pretty down. I was actually talking to my friend Dan Sugarman. He's the lead guitarist of Ice Nine Kills. I was texting him probably end of October, early November, and I was just like, man, I don't know. I'm in my 30s now. I don't know, you know, how much longer. You know, I don't know if, you know, if anyone's, you know, if anything's gonna come of this. And he's like, listen, dude, he's like, the reason why you guys like you and I succeed is because we never give up.
Yep.
And he, you know, he just kept, you know, encouraging me. And so shout out to Dan, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now.
Yep.
So,
I can't tell you how many times I've been frustrated on wanting to end this podcast, but then several people are like, man, we love your content. We don't know why it's not blowing up, and it should be, because you have some great fucking content and great artists that come on here. And plus, you know, you're the voice for these bands who need a voice. And I was like, wow. Yeah,
this is out of the interviews we've done, this is, you know, one of the highlights for me is this one. This has been awesome so far.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That makes me smile. Makes a little fat man smile. Ledwing walked into that practice you guys are doing. He walked in as like a Jedi, like, you guys are not doing this right. You're going to play it this way. Give me 10 minutes. I'll come back with 15 different versions of this. Oh, man. What do you guys hope everyone takes away while listening to this new album or just any of a Fitting Revenge music in general? What do you hope they get from it, guys? And I know there's different variations of the band, you know, from infancy to now. But what do you hope they get from it?
Brian, I'll let you answer first. I want to see what you're gonna say.
Uh-oh.
Just curious.
So
Brother
my hope is Omnipresence is a collection of short stories telling a larger story arc. And so I hope that, you know, they go into, I know it's going to sound weird, but I hope they go into this album with that in mind, that each song is its own story within, you know, the bigger story, that, you know, you could look at each story as its own story arc. So I really hope that, you know, as much as like we want people to go to our Spotify and check out everything, I really hope that they go into this album and just absorb all of it and not just like stream a song here or stream a song there, because the whole album is just stories and a story, you know, telling about time and, you know, time travel and everything and all that. So I really hope that they really enjoy that, and they really enjoy, you know, the songwriting and just the artistic, you know, view of it all.
Yeah, dude, you pretty much, you totally, so I thought you were going to say something different. I don't know what, but you and I are pretty much on the same page. I would kind of add my little bit to say that I would want somebody to take away that this music is all about storytelling. That's our primary goal. So, you know, you look at the packaging art, the art on the website, the art on the CD, the lyrics in particular, some of the musical choices, all that shit is storytelling and songwriting number 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then caveman riffs and shredding and all that stuff.
So let me ask you this though, guys. Is this primarily what we're going to get from a Fitting Revenge? Are we just going to get like concept albums? Or are you guys eventually want to do just maybe a one-off of just not a concept album and see how that goes?
I think it's going to be an album by album thing. I think it really, at least, you know, what we've kind of talked about is we want to just write the songs first and see what the music says and what the music's telling us. I know we already have ideas and plans for the next one. And it's going to continue along the lines of concept. But who knows down the road, but right now, it's probably going to be, we're going to be telling stories for a little bit.
All right, folks, I know that you both have had a lot of music growing up and you still do to this day that you go back and listen to, but do you still have a go-to album or song that you both find yourself going back to and listen to from time to time? You have to listen to it. You can't.
Oh, all the time. Yeah. Yep. This Godless Endeavor by Nevermore.
Okay.
That entire album, I think Jeff Loomis is just the man. That guy. I know a lot of people are always like talking about Jeff's lead playing because he's one of the best lead players in the world. But I mean, his rhythm tone on that, I mean, good God, man, he's just the best.
Ooh, that is so tough. A song that just won't go away for me is Ashes of the Wake, the instrumental track off of Ashes of the Wake. Because that is some storytelling with very little lyrics. I mean, just spoken word. And I'm like, I feel it. That song hits me so hard. So I got to say Ashes of the Wake. Although I'm sure, like, if you ask me tomorrow, I might see something different.
But if you have an instrumental song, and there's a lot that I like too, that says maybe 1 or 2 words and it still hits you, then has that effect on you, Ledwing, just and it hits you like that, man, a band is doing something fucking right. They know exactly what they're doing. I mean, that's insane for just an instrumental to knock you down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, actually, okay, there is another song. That is the last song off of Nightmare by Avenged Sevenfold, which I think it's like the 10-minute song.
Mhm.
I want to say it's called, it's not Fiction. I forget the name, but it's like the last track. And Brian, I hope you're Googling this because okay. But that one, I mean, like I got the album the day it came out and it was not too long.
Is it Save Me?
Yes.
Or Tonight the World Dies? It's Save Me. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one does have lyrics. It's super long, but that was after Jimmy the Rev Sullivan died. And that shit hits me. Like whenever I hear it, Tonight We All Die Young at the end.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I think it was a different one.
It's kind of hard to sit back and say, the Rev's not here. It's hard to. There's a lot of people that it's hard for me to put in a sentence that say like they passed away or there's no hand. It's like, wow, really?
It's so wild because I saw them like 2 weeks before he passed on tour.
Oh wow, man.
Yeah. And I remember it was Burn Halo, Papa Roach, Avenged Sevenfold, and Buck Cherry, and they were playing this arena in Utica, New York. And they opened up with Critical Acclaim. And I remember looking at Jimmy's kit, and he had like the old Alex Van Halen, kick drums everywhere. And it was, so he had 3 kick drums, and it was A7X. And man,
Snakeskin Rap.
I don't know if it was a Snakeskin Rap on that tour, but I just remember like watching him play, like doing Afterlife, singing and playing all of those, his talent. Like there's certain people like that just come into like the industry and it's never the same ever again.
Yeah.
Like him, Chester Bennington, Chester was literally a voice of like a generation. Chris Cornell, a voice of a generation, but Jimmy, he wasn't just like a musician. He wasn't just a drummer's drummer. He was just like, he was the heart and soul of that band, man.
Dimebag Darrell, another one.
Oh, massive.
Oh,
Him and his brother, man. I mean, yeah, it sucks getting older and seeing these things happen because it's like, man, like you just want those guys to live forever and keep putting out great music.
Yeah.
Alexi Liho.
Oh yeah, exactly. Alexi. That's wild.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to see where Pantera came from a glam rock band to like
oh man,
the biggest metal
The
band.
album cover progression is hilarious.
Yeah, exactly, Ledwing. Yeah, exactly. You go from Cowboys to Hell. You got all the power metal and you're exactly right. You go back and look at him, it's like, what happened after power metal to Cowboys from Hell? What happened?
Yeah, I'm fortunate that I know somebody who was the tour manager for Hell Yeah, so he's got a lot of Vinnie Paul stories that I've been able to hear, and man, everything you hear about those guys what a massive hole they've left in this this music world.
Vinnie Paul was a great guy. I didn't get to meet Dime, but I got to meet Vinnie Paul and got a photo with him, and he just seemed very, very down to earth. I didn't get to talk to him very long, but he just seemed like a cool guy.
Yeah.
So didn't turn nobody away. I will give him that. He didn't turn anybody away.
I heard he liked to cook. Actually, it's funny because on his birthday, Marcus he'll post on Facebook. He always cooks Vinny's like homemade pepper recipe, and man, do they look amazing. I gotta go over sometime and get some.
All right, Brian and Ledwing, how can folks stay in touch with you guys, buy this new album or anything of Fitting Revenge? How can they do that, guys?
So the main hub is afittingrevenge.com. If you go to afittingrevenge.com/links, it's all just laid out for you. But we're also on Facebook and Instagram. We are fairly active on Instagram. We have YouTube as well.
Twitter,
and,
TikTok.
Yep, TikTok. For TikTok, it's usually smaller clips of stuff that we're working on, riffs, drum patterns, all that shit.
We're also getting a Twitch channel up and running shortly. We're going to be actually doing a stream Friday night. We're going to be streaming the full album. So if people swing by our Twitch channel, they'll be able to hang out with us, talk with us, chat with us about the album. We're going to be going through the songs and everything, and they'll be able to, hear that and chat with us on the Twitch. I believe it's twitch.tv/Fitting Revenge.
Yeah, I've subscribed to everything except for TikTok. I don't do TikTok yet, but everybody's hounding me to do TikTok, but I'll end up doing it. It's TikTok, I know, folks, but I call it TikTok.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, I followed you guys on Twitch too. I have a Twitch channel.
Thank you so much.
I think I'm just going to use that channel as far as like my paranormal stuff that I do.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, we haven't done any. Well, we did one this like last Saturday, but I did it mostly from the Facebook page because all this stuff like that's new to me. So
yeah,
I got to get some things lined out and figure that out. But hey, if a 2-year-old can make millions of dollars out of it, hey, why not?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Another tool in your toolbox,
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and I have a lot of these platforms that I'm on, like iHeart, Spotify. You can't never be on enough stuff, man, because maybe somebody don't like iHeart, maybe somebody don't like Spotify or YouTube, whatever. They can find their niche and you're already there, so they don't miss out.
Yeah.
Before I let you two go, would you care to do a promo for my show, guys?
Absolutely.
Hey, everyone, this is Ledwing.
And I'm Brian from A Fitting Revenge, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. Again, please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link and our YouTube link, and subscribe to that YouTube link because we got a lot of great stuff coming up. And I give prizes away, stuff like that. And the 1,000 subscriber, not 1,000, yeah, the 1,000 subscriber that I get on here, I'm going to eat a bologna sandwich with you. You're going to come online, and we'll do a Zoom. We'll eat a bologna sandwich, talk music. Hey, I may have a band on here too. We'll sit around and just shoot the breeze with them. But also, please get out and check out A Fitting Revenge. Grab this album that's going to come out July the 1st. I'm telling you, folks, Omnipresence, the Overflow single that's out right now is very, very impressive. Very impressive. So I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of this.
Thank you.
I'm telling you, folks, right now, do not sleep on this band. I'm also affiliated with Metal Incorporated, Forum Obscure, which is an online magazine that has obscure art plus metal band reviews, stuff like that, and Diary of the Madman, the ultimate Ozzy Osbourne podcast with Dan and Josh. Check that out. You won't be disappointed. So, Brian and Ledwing, I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck, and you're welcome on here anytime you guys want.
Thank you so much. This has been awesome.
Thank you for having us.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.